If we need to start this 11-11 countdown while I'm still talking, just go the fuck ahead.
Yes! Freedom!
It's a real fucking pleasure to be asked to be a part of this. No, I mean that. I wrote down some notes because I don't know what the fuck I'd be standing up here telling Pollock jokes and shit if I didn't write something down. So. You know, a lot has been said tonight about Nigel Tufnell, who's admittedly to loud what Matisse is to muted colors on really big fucking pieces of canvas. But we also must take a moment to consider the concrete foundation, which is under the basement, which is under the house, which is the tower upon which Tufnell was able to soar. I could speak only, of course, of the great Derek Smalls, the greatest electrical bassist of all time. For where would Tony Iommi have been without Geezer? Where would Slash have been without Duff McKagan? Where would Eddie Van Halen have been without his brother Michael Anthony Van Halen? Where indeed would Les Paul have been without himself? Derek Albion Smalls was born 70 years ago in Ilford-on-Null. He joined the Taft at the age of 25, replacing original bassist Ronnie Pudding. And how fucking amazing was it that Ronnie Pudding was here tonight? Unbelievable. While Derek is best known as a member of the band, he was also a member of the Christian rock band Lamb's Blood, and released a critically overlooked solo record called It's a Smalls World. He's also something of a Renaissance man, having played Killer No. 1 in the Marco Zamboni film Roma 79, and holding a patent on a species of rose he developed, which he christened the Death by Midnight, notable for its completely black bud. Derek didn't think he'd be able to be here tonight. Derek has been in treatment again, bravely facing the internet addiction which has plagued him for the last 5 years. And when he didn't think he'd be able to make it here, he flew it. He called me up. He called me up on the telephone. He asked me to be here to say thank you to all of you. And he specifically asked me to take a moment to ask all of you here tonight to take a moment to remember on this night the tent poles of heavy. The men and occasionally the women, but really the men who hold down the bottom, the real rudders of rock and roll, the bassists. So I ask you now that we stop to pause to give our thoughts to the wizards of the fourth string. I ask you now that we give remembrance to Clifford Lee Burton, the original bassist for Metallica, who said of the label execs, kill them all, when they wouldn't allow the band to call their debut album Metal Up Your Ass. I ask that we give remembrance to Jackie Fox, who was a classmate of Barack Obama at Harvard Law School, and who refused to allow herself to be portrayed in the biopic of the movie of the Runaways. I ask now that we give remembrance to John Paul Jones, who was in a band with John McLaughlin when he was 15, who did string arrangements for the Rolling Stones, who did session work for Donovan, Herman's Hermits, Cat Stevens, Shirley Bassey, Tom Jones, Nico, Diamante Glass, and Lulu, and who was the only thing that made Led Zeppelin any good. That we give remembrance to Geezer Butler, who was in the bands Rare Breed, Polka Tulp, Earth, and Black Sabbath with the state Ozzy Osbourne, and who was the first known vegan to use wah-wah on a bass. I ask you... Oh shit, hold on. Fuck, I should take this, I'm sorry. No, wait, I'm sorry, that's uncool, I'm sorry. I ask you now that we remember Harry Kuykendall, who wanted to be a lawyer, but ended up playing in Poison. To John Deacon, the only person to quit Queen without dying. To Steve Dawson, who played in Saxon. To Geddy Lee, the first hard rock bassist to be made an officer of the Order of Canada, and has a wine cellar of more than 5,000 bottles of wine, but will not drink white wines. To Gene Simmons, who was born Chaim Heights in Tirat Achamo, Israel, but who said that he was born in Jackson Heights and said that his name was James Klein, taking his mother's maiden name, which in Hungarian is slang for kiss, which gave his band its name, at least according to Wikipedia. To Sammy Yaffa, who was an original member of Hanoi Rocks, and went on to record with Slash, and played with Joan Jett's Blackhearts and the New York Dolls. To Bill Wyman, who was the only person to quit the Rolling Stones without dying. To Lemmy, who saw the Beatles at the Cavern Club, who roadie for Hendrix, and who gave Sid Vicious bass lessons. And to Dave Ellefson, who, while engaged in a feud with Dave Mustaine, founded the Mega Life Ministries in Scottsdale, Arizona, which takes as its credo this line from John 10:10. I have come that they may have life and live it to the full. Ladies and gentlemen, on Fender Precision electric bass guitar, Ariella Stok. Stay tuned. Coming up next is Big Bot. No, they fucking did that. Coming up next is a fucking another song. Rock up. Ronnie James Dio. Last thing, Ronnie James Dio joined Black Sabbath. Ozzy Osbourne had this symbol, so Ronnie James Dio started doing this. This was something he learned from his Italian grandmother to ward off spirits. It is not the horns of the devil. It is to ward off the devil. Rock the fuck on.
Yes! That was some powerful shit.
It's 11:10. What am I going to do?
It's 11:10, ladies and gentlemen. What a better way to ring in 11:11 than a 10-minute fuzz bass solo. I mean, seriously. It actually makes a lot of sense. Crystal, you want to lead us in the countdown?